And welcome in everybody to Frogman here, King Pepe II, bringing you the latest Fiend Hunter Boss Complex. And it's the newest Fiend Hunter, actually. Very voluptuous, I would say, Fiend Hunter Boss. But yeah, I know that I haven't uploaded anything on my YouTube channel regarding Brown Dust 2 video-wise, but I have been posting. I wanted to do the video. I was actually going to do it, actually, 3 days ago, but I didn't. I kind of took a bit of a break. Kind of focused on myself and kind of was doing other things. You know what I mean? Didn't mean I didn't want to, upload or anything like that. I mean, I still posted on my YouTube channel, my post area and on Twitter. But other than that, I didn't upload anything with Brown Dust 2. Other than, I think the last video I released was the Sunrun Kagura, when I was discussing about, who to pull for, what their skills are like and all that. I think that was the last video that I uploaded, in fact. But if you want to go check it on out, because they are having the rerun of Sunrun Kagura very, very soon, in fact. April 9th it's going to be on. Maintenance is going to be on April 8th. So if you want to check out the video and get a little feel of, the collaboration characters that we had a year and a half ago, it's all in that video, okay? But with that being said, if you're new to my channel, if you're a new Brown Dust 2 player, subscribe. What are you doing? Subscribe. I got you covered. Like my videos and all that, and I think that's really about it. It's good to be back, so let's hit it. Okay, so Complex, right? So there was actually two really great teams to use for this one. Sylvia's team was actually, I would say, I wouldn't say it was mid, but she was actually pretty good with it. But I would say Morpeah and Darian, as DPS unit wise, they did the most damage on this. Well, against Complex, I should say. So team wise, let's go through it, because I'm gonna do like two separate well, I'm gonna showcase, I should say, two separate ways of doing it, right? Use whatever method works for you if you'd like, or if you have a different method, then by far, by all means use it. Right? Okay, so first team consisted of Liberta, Diana, Celia, Mamonir, and Darian. Second team consisted of Terese, Rafina, Rue, Olivia. I know, right? Olivia. We'll talk about that when we get there. And Sylvia. Third team consisted of Morpeah, Rafithia, Zenith, Wilhelmina, and Grenadier. So there you have it. Okay, so first things first, as I like to do, is talk about the gear. Okay, so this is a fire type boss, and is also a magic type boss. So, as always, you want to equip them with magic resistance gear. Okay. So, supporter-wise, let's just start out with supporter, right? Supporter-wise, you want them to survive. You want them to, not die, right? That's what that means. Okay, so gear, you're going to be using Fiend Guard Tier 4. Okay, Tier 4. Always have equipped to Tier 4 or higher when it comes to, like, higher stages. I would even say level 10 even. But you can get by with Tier 3, I would say. But you want to be on the safe side. Tier 4 gear is your best bet. But yeah, so Fiend Guard for the torso, and then for the helmets, Radiant Wisdom, Tier 4, right? Now, as for, like, accessories and the gloves, honestly, you're really just having them survive on the field. So, like, just equip the gear. And then also, if you want to go into their bonds, so, like, character page, you click on them, for example, Liberta, right? You can add some additional magic resistance. So you would switch on over to her Dark Sanctus, so has magic resistance here, see? Instead of her Onsen, which has defense, but this is not a physical type boss. So you would pick, Dark Sanctus Liberta instead for the magic resistance. Make sense? So now you have some more magic resistance right here, and it showcases it, right? Pretty simple, right? Okay, so that's what you would do. Same thing with Diana. If you have her exclusive gear, you would do the same thing. You would change this basic attribute, go to refinements, go down here, and then here you would just switch it. Make sense? Okay? And if you don't have, like, for example, Diana's exclusive gear, you can just use Radiant Wisdom. In fact, Radiant Wisdom actually adds a lot more magic resistance than her exclusive gear. Unless you have her substats rocking magic resistance, then obviously it'd be about the same, But yeah, so that's how I had it set up. If you look at my other supporters, Terese, Rue, They have the same gear on as well here with it, right? And then down here, Rafithia and Grenadier are built the same way, except they have their exclusive gears. But like I said, if you don't have Rafithia's or Grenadier's exclusive gears, just rock the Fiend Guard, tier 4. Okay? Very simple to do. DPS unit wise, okay, so if we're looking at this, Radiant Wisdom I used for the helmet, and then I also used Fiend Guard. For Celia, I used Hellfire Robe tier 4 because I actually, at the moment, I don't have more. I know, right? It's crazy. I ran out of resources. Slowly building them again. But I rocked the Hellfire Robe tier 4. It actually worked, actually. I said that twice. It worked still for me, even through level 14, in fact. So, if you don't have, you know, let's just say Fiend Guard tier 4, then use Hellfire Robe tier 4. Has magic resistance on it, but it also has HP percentage, so you can't survive more, but I would highly recommend the Fiend Guard, though. Okay? But if we're going to be looking at Mamonir now, okay, so Mamonir is a very special case, since technically her damage reflects off of her max HP. Okay, so I more or less chose Hellfire Robe tier 4 because I felt this worked best for her. Has HP percentage in it, right? And substats, which we'll get to a little bit here. Let me just finish off. Crown of Galaxy tier 4 for her helmets, because same thing, adds health percentages and magic resistance as well. And then for her accessory, I actually used Charming Gaze instead of Venomous Touch, because it also has HP percentage along with critical damage percentage. And then as for her gloves, I used the Ring of Fury tier 4. Used it for crit rates, percentage, and magic percentage, even though she does not stack off of that. The substats themselves, I did, however, change to health and crit damage percentages. Exclusive gear-wise, okay, so if you do not have Grim Surge, don't be alarmed. Now, for her, I would say it would work for her just because of the fact the exclusive attribute is actually extra HP percentage. So 54%, that's quite a lot, in fact, right? And it also has some crit damage percentage number and then, you know, magic percentage or flat stat, depending on which one you pick. But if you do not have it, don't worry. You can just substitute it for another gear. So let's take a look here. So you would just have to basically change the substats to be like HP percentage, really, or critical damage. But I would suggest maybe 2 HP percentages and then 1 crit damage percentage in the substat. You know, so it would... Honestly, any tier 4 gear really would work for her as a weapon. So Demon Forbidden's Book. Eye of the Destroyer, tier 4 as well. And then there's... what's it? Traveler's Friend? Yeah, Traveler God's Friend, tier 4. I would pick this one over the other two just because it has critical damage percentage in it. That's why I would pick it. And then I would just change the substats. Oh my god, I can't talk. Substats would be, you know, 2 HP percentages and maybe another critical damage percentage. That's what I personally would do if I did not have, you know, Grim Surge, which is Mamonir's exclusive. So that's my recommendation, okay? But yeah, so that's how I built my Mamonir. Could she use a little bit more critical damage? Yeah, she definitely could. I could switch these 2 magic ones out, you know, if I had the material. That is, I would do it. But yeah, see, basically... critical damage percentage and HP percentage. Those are really the only 2 stats she rocks with at the moment. Okay. Darian. Okay, Darian. She was pretty straightforward with this. I used the same gear. Fiend Guard, tier 4. Radiant Wisdom, tier 4. I used Venomous Touch, though, however, for her accessory. Now, she doesn't need this much crit damage percentage, mind you. I just turned out this way. I used God King Silver Arm, tier 4. You can also use, if you don't want to use God King Silver Arm, you can also use the Gauntlets or the Prime Authority tier 4. Okay, only difference between the two is Prime Authority has 1 attack percentage and then a flat stat of attack, and then the God King Silver Arm has 2 percentages of attack. That's the only difference. Okay, if you do not have her exclusive weapon, if I can pronounce this. If you do not have Revelatio, okay, do not worry. You can just substitute it for either the Dragon Sword, which is the one that I have equipped on Lathel, which is this one. Tier 4, mind you. Has a critical damage percentage number and a flat stat of attack. Or you can rock, Thor's Hammer, as I call it. The Hammer of Thunder, tier 4, obviously. It has both attack percentage and a flat stat of attack. So there you go. And substat-wise, just always reflected off of, how many flat stat or attack percentages are in their skill trees for how many, how many costumes they have. I always like to do it based off of that. That's how I do it, at least, okay? In case you guys need an example, let me just click real quick. Right? So we look at Darian here, correct? Right? We'll look at her costume real quick. Okay, so skill tree wise, so I count how many of the stats that she has, correct? So as of right now, it looks like, let's see, 1, 2. So she has 6 flat stats, right? 6 flat stats. And it looks like she has 4 attack percentages. Okay, so right off the bat, I know, like, okay, so as of right now, she's rocking with, more flat stats than percentages. Okay. But if I take a look at her bonding stat, she also has a lot of flat stat if you were to use her bonding for her bunny one, right? And she also has critical damage and water property damage. So if I take a look at her other one, Prophetic Dreams, right? So I would look in her skill tree again, right? I would add up how much. So we had 4 attack percentages in the other one, right? So this is 1, 2. So this is 6, right? And then the other ones. Okay, so 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so 10 attack percentages altogether, then that means, right? And then there were, what? There were 6 flat stats then, right? Okay, so 10 to 6. So I would add a little bit more flat stats. So maybe like 2 more or 3 more flat stats in whatever gear I choose to equip it in, right? And then I would make everything else then either critical damage percentage or add a little bit more, attack. But that's how I determine when it comes to gear slots. That's how I determine it, right? That's actually how I do it. You just gotta, count how much you have of what's, divide it, see how it's divided, and then go, okay, let me put a little bit more into this gear, right? You want to balance it, basically. That's how you want to do it. Does that make sense? And then if you go to their bonding stats, which is also a very important thing that you should get used to doing if you're a newer player. I chose to do Bittersweet Bunny's bonding because it has water property damage in it, okay? As opposed to her prophetic dream one, this has only attack percentage in it. Has magic resistance, yes, but I can rely on her gear very much, right? I can rely on her gear a lot, and so I get more out of her Bittersweet Bunny one. Does that make sense? So that's how I determine it, and I think, oh, give me a moment. Of course, this just like died on me. I know I use a wireless mouse, guys. Give me a moment. Okay. But yeah, so there you have it. That's how I do it. I hope that explained a little bit more of how the process works normally when it comes to that. And then everybody else, I basically based off Sylvia's gear build off of Darian's, except she has her own exclusive weapon. Same thing, if you do not have her exclusive weapon, just, have, an alternative. For her, I would actually just use either the sword, the dragon sword, or Thor's hammer, basically. I would just use either of those 2 gears to do it with. Tier 4, obviously, guys. Tier 4. And for substat-wise, I mean, I found her to be pretty well balanced. I mean, she has 4 costumes, guys. Okay? But overall, I put a lot more with critical damage, but I chose to put into her gloves, however, some more percentages. I could, in all honesty, I probably should have put these as flat stats, really. But yeah, that's how I did it. Correct? Bond stat wise, I ended up using the Sword Queen because it does have water property damage in it, as well as flat stat of attack and a little bit more of critical damage percentage, right? Her other ones, it didn't have any water property, and I found that having water property against this boss worked very well, in fact. So that's why I chose to bond with the Sword Queen. Okay? And then if we look at the last team with Morpeah, okay, so same thing. Morpeah, I have her exclusive gear for her accessory. You can actually just use Venomous Touch. Adds a hell of a lot of critical damage for her. In all honesty, substat-wise, you can put, you know, either what? You can balance it out, like I said. I would put for like Venomous Touch wise maybe 2 magic percentages and then 1 additional critical damage percentage in it if I was, you know, doing it for an alternative. For her, I did it. So basically, yeah, I would just do it like this. If I have Venomous Touch, I would just do it like this, or like I said, put 2 either flat stats of magic, put some percentages, but at least have 1 at least critical damage percentage in it. Her gear wise, I use Travel God's Friend, has critical damage in it, along with a flat stat of magic. And then I just use Fiend Guard tier 4 and Solar Brilliance tier 4. To be honest with you, I would have used Radiant Wisdom, but I need to craft some more. Don't have the resources right now. I use Shackle of Treachery for her as well, tier 4. Got some more magic percentage numbers in it. And that's how I did it. Zenith. Didn't really have to worry too much with Zenith, because since she's just there for chain stacking and to increase the damage of chain stack, I just put it basically for her to survive, you know. And then Wilhelmina, same thing. Now she does help out with chain stacking, so I based, however, a lot of her substats with flat stat of attack. That's what I did, though. Now, me personally, I found it to be a little bit better with that, but that was me. Okay. Now, if we're going to look at their bonding stats, right? I used Honor Monarch. So Iron Monarch, I used it because of the flat stat. I needed a little bit more, so that's why I chose it. Plus, it also has water property damage as well in comparison to the other ones. That's why I chose to use it. Okay? So you have it with her, with Wilhelmina. And Morpeah, I chose to bond with her bunny. Daydream Bunny. I did it because of the water property damage and also because it added more magic percentage to her as well. So that's why I chose it. Her other 2 weren't bad either, because her Apostle one actually has water damage property as well. It also has flat stat, but I chose to do this one instead because of my stats on her, right? So that's what I did. That's how I chose to build a team. Okay, so hope that helped you guys out. And that being said, let's go hit it. And we're going to be doing, first off, floor 10. Normally I choose floor 10 is because, like, you know, that's how I normally do it. And I think that passing floor 10, because, like, you reach floor 10, right, and you get all the tickets. You got a total of, like, 30 draw tickets altogether. So that's why I normally do it that way, you know. You can go higher if you have, like, higher tier, you know, gear. In all honesty, guys, I would recommend, if you're doing that, though, to have your tier levels. You know how, like, it has those 3 bubbles at, like, the very bottom of your gear? I forgot to show you that. Let me just... Can I show you here? So, yeah, you see how it has, like, these numbers here? So, I would highly recommend, if you're doing, like, the higher floors, to have these above 20 at least. Okay? If you really want to, like, pass a lot of the content, that's what I would recommend with that. Okay? But anyway, let's look at the Fiend Hunter boss now. Okay, conditional skills. Okay, so it's going to have 2 of them. Abhorrence of Hope. So activate the skill when any player character receives healing over time. So in this case, we're going to be activating Liberta's augmentation for the, what's it called? For chain, right? But you know, it's augmentation as well. So this is automatically going to activate. So when it does, it creates a domain on the battlefield for 20 turns, applying 200% of vulnerability to all parts of the fiend and 200% vulnerability to enemies. Okay, so that's it. Now we're going to activate hers first. Now, we're not going to activate Deanna's, Celia's, Mamonir's yet. We're going to move the drone all the way up here, by the way. So remember to move the drone up there. Drone is always going to be using its skill. Remember that. So it's always going to be activated. Okay, so for everybody else, except for Bunny Darian, right? So like here, this is how it should be set up. So drone, activate, put it down here, where it's highlighting Darian and Mamonir. Activate Onsen Manager Liberta next. Deanna and Celia, they're going to be attacking the weak spot over here. Mamonir, since she only attacks the very front and she's not a vault type like Celia or Deanna, just have her attack the middle. And then Darian, use her... now, I use this first because I like to apply the frostbite. So, that's why I did it. So, there you go. Okay. Now you're going to be activating her butt skill here, the Scream of Envy. I'm not joking, guys. It is actually a butt skill. Anyway, so activate the skill when any player character is in an augmented state. We're in an augmented state because of Liberta's own sin. So it's going to deal 10,336 magic damage to the enemy, equal to 800% of your magic attack. Increase the enemy's property damage, which is my team, right? By 200% for 4 turns. Okay, so that's not bad. So now we're going to move Deanna up right here. We're going to put Celia up there. Move Liberta back here. Put Darian there. Okay, so the reason why I did this was because... Okay. Now, when this skill activates, you see how it attacks up here? And it just, like... Then it misses, like, the back. That's why I moved a Darian up here. That's why I did it. Because you're going to have Celia and Mamonir in the middle because they attack 9 tiles. And you want them to hit every single tile because it attacks all the weak spots. Okay? Even the ones in the back. So that's why you're going to have them stand here basically the entire, like, first round here. Okay? So activate drone first. Dark Saintess Liberta next to get that 50% crit rate increase as well as attack increase. Activate Adventure Deanna's ability for property damage increase. Activate Bunny Celia for chain refinements. Activate Mamonir's skill next for more chain stack. And then activate Prophetic Dream Darian last. Okay? And they're highlighted. Make sure the drone is highlighting both Mamonir and Darian. And then just start up. Yeah, when I was first doing this, I actually missed that. I kept messing it up. Right? I kept putting... I kept having Darian in the back. Instead of, like, putting her, like, a space forward. So remember to do that, okay? Remember. Okay, so next attack. It's going to apply pressure to us. Now, you do not have to worry too much about it hitting Mamonir or Celia. Okay? You don't have to worry about that too much. Okay? They're just there at this point now for chain stacking. Okay? So, activate drone first. Liberta's on cooldown time, so just have her attack. Now, you can use Deanna's Energy Guard ability if you have it, just to make sure they survive. You don't have to activate it if you don't want to. If you feel like they'll survive, right? But I'll just activate it just to show it. Celia, I'll activate the curse for her. Reduces the enemy's defense by 10%. Mamonir, she's going to be attacking in her transformed state. And then Darian, I'll be using her bunny skill for more frostbite. Everybody highlighted. Oh, hold up. I almost messed that up. Always remember to highlight them with the drone and then just let it play. There you go. Okay, so next attack is going to apply silence. Okay, so in this case, just leave them the way they are. Okay, trust me. You'll be fine. Just remember, don't let the drone get hit. So if you have your drone over here, move it to the other side. Okay? That's all you have to do. Okay, guys? So let them attack again. Looks great. Okay, so this attack next is going to apply more pressure. So this one you actually don't want to get hit by again. Okay? This goes for all your other teams, except for the one with Morpeah on it. That's a special case, though. But we'll get to it when I get to it. But yeah, so just basically put them all over here. It's a really odd, you know, tile attack. You're not going to do much damage because of that, right? Because of how the attack is hitting the tiles. So you don't have to worry too much about it. Just, like I said, remember, have your drone not get hit, okay? So, drone's going to be activating again. You're going to move Deanna over to the side because even though you're not having her apply any property damage to Mamonir or Darian, she's actually just going to be reactivating the skill the next turn, okay? Plus, the silence is going to be ending the next turn, so it doesn't really matter. The drone, however, is going to be stacking up to 4 times with your other costumes, however, in this case, Mamonir, okay? So you want to maintain that. And then everybody else, just... Oh, yeah, make sure Celia is attacking the weak spot. Might not be too much damage, but, you know, it's something. Okay, and this next attack should actually clear it. So, basically, just make sure everybody's, you know, highlighted doing what they need to be doing. And that actually should be the fight in this case. So this is the first team. So I hope this helped you guys out for passing level 10. And now we're going to check out the... I don't know. Which one should I do? I don't have quite the stats to do it in one go on level 13 yet. I can show you, though, however. I think it's a lot better to show you with it. It's just that my tier for my gear isn't high, right? That's why I was saying higher end, you know, like floors, I would recommend above 20 for each of your gears, right? When it comes to their substats tiering. Okay, so I'm going to do... We'll do level 12. I think level 12 is possible to do, at least for me, at least, for one go ahead of it. Okay? So let's go activate this. Or, not activate, my god. You know what I mean. Let's go fight it, the boss. But yeah, if you have a really built Morpeah, well, gear-wise, right? You should be hitting really high numbers. Okay, so I'm not really going to explain this because I already explained it the first time around. So, I'm just going to let this play on out. Okay? And let me turn off their skills real quick. Yep. Oh, wait. Hold up. I didn't activate Darian's. My bad. Already messing up. There we go. Okay, we good now? Okay, I'm just gonna, like, do this how I normally just do it without talking. But yeah, guys, you guys all excited for the Senran Kagura collaboration rerun? I am. I still remember that was the very first, you know, when that happened the very first time with Senran Kagura. That's when I actually started to do Brown Dust 2 content back in the day. That was, in fact, it was my very first video ever on YouTube for Brown Dust 2. No joke, it actually was. So, the rerunning of this holds a special place in my heart. So, I'm really excited for it. I remember at that time, too, I was actually very new, right? Very newish. And I was lucky enough because, as a newer player, you know, you technically have more of an advantage because you're able to gather more draw tickets and stuff from, like, the towers and all that as well. So that's why I was saying that, you know, I was like, you know, I had more of an advantage back then. And I actually managed to +5 all of them. And I got their gears too. So, I mean, if you're a newer player, right, don't be discouraged. Because, like, all you got to do is kind of grind for, like, you know, towers. Because the towers is actually where I got most of the tickets from, in fact. Towers and clearing of, like, the main story and story and the character pack stories, right? Now the one when they had the Mushiko Tensai, I think that's how you pronounce it, by the way. I think at least. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But that one I actually missed by a month when I started playing the game. It's crazy. I missed it by a month. So I was never able to go for the rerun when they had it back last year in October, I believe it was. And kind of bummed me out because I wanted to unlock all of them. Only ones I didn't get were Roxy's and Eris's. I think the one was Eris the cat, right? The cat cosplay one. And then Roxy had the succubus. But yeah, those are the only ones I missed. Because I didn't want to like use up all my tickets and such. But hey, I did get, you know, their base ones. I still remember Eris's pulls. Oh my gosh. The Eris pulls were brutal for me. Roxy was no problem. It's like, Roxy was like, you know what? Just unlock me. I'm not joking. Like, for her, I actually was very fortunate. Even with her gear, her weapon, I got very lucky with it. Okay, now we're going to be showcasing, yeah, I'm going to be showcasing now the second team that I wasn't able to do for the first one because, you know, Darian nuked everything. Along with Mamonir and Celia. Okay, guys, so here's the second team lineup. Okay, so this is actually how you're going to attack. Now, let me explain. So, you're not going to activate the skill Scream of Envy just yet. You're going to do it actually on the next turn. So, you're going to avoid getting hit by the pressure, okay? You're not going to activate Ruse skill or Olivia's skill right now. Reason is because you want to have the property damage on you first before activating that, okay? So that's why. For Rafina, though, however, I'm not activating this vulnerability until the next turn, right? After I get the water property, because obviously I'll do more damage. So that's why I'm just going to use her mechanical dive one. Okay? I really use this skill, by the way. It's like one of the very rare occurrences that I'm using it. You're going to activate Medical Club Terese, gain the attack increase. And then Sylvia. Okay, so for Sylvia, this is very important in case you guys don't know this, for any newer players that are unaware of it. She extends the duration of all buffs that she currently has on her for 2 more turns, okay? Plus, she does quite a bit of range, too, as well. So, if you manage to level her up a good amount, enhancing, and by the way, she is in the banner pool right now. She is in a rerun, okay? You want to pull for her. Now, I don't exactly remember if the 3-turn cooldown time, if it's like at a certain enhancement level, like +3, I don't remember. But we're just going to go based off of my stats with this. So I'm able to activate this every other turn, which is really nice. So that's why when I get to the Scream of Envy, right, when she activates this with her butt, you know, the butt skill, I'll be able to extend it again. Okay, and you'll see what I mean by this. So I'll have everything activated so far. Yep, looks good. Let's get it. If you want to look, you see how it's at 4, right? It's at 4. So this should be at 2, correct? It's going to go back to 4. See, there you go. So it went back to 4, so it did extend it by 2 turns, right? Because each turn, you know, if you're new again, each turn, even though it's like, it might seem like 1, they count it as 2, okay? So that's why it just stayed at 4, you know? Okay, so now we're going to activate the Scream of Envy here. So activate my girl, Kalkini Terese. I'm going to move Rafina over here in the center. Going to move Red Riding Hood Rue. Going to activate her skill next. Going to activate the Sword Queen ability for Sylvia because it increases your attack percentage. Now, if you have her at +5, you're able to extend this. Instead of 4 turns, you're able to extend it by 6 turns. So unfortunately, I missed her by 1 more enhancement. But it's okay. You know, I still got the job done with this. Skill increase wise with the skill tree, I leveled up one of them because it increases it by an additional 25%. So at 175%, that's what it now looks like. Okay, so I would suggest highly to, you know, unlock that skill, if any. Okay. And with that being said, I think we're gonna do that. Yeah, there we go. So it's just gonna do its thing. Oh yeah, and Olivia. Okay, so why is Olivia on this team? I know, it's very odd in my opinion too, but this is the reason why. So when I was looking at this, right, because like I went to see, you know, because I'm always curious, you know, what people use for team building, and I looked at Olivia. I'm like, Olivia, it's very interesting. The reason being is because she restores SP points. So like her Faithful Wings, Olivia, she restores SP to allies each time an attack hits an enemy. So you see how many squares she hits. So that's what I mean by that. I believe that's why they used her on the team, because I was looking at the other costumes and a lot of them really didn't pair up well with this team. So I was like, I could see why they used her, right? And plus, I can activate the skill every other turn, so it's like a 3-turn cooldown time. So that's even better, right? So that's why Olivia's on the team. Okay? So let's go play this. Okay, we got hit by the attack, and we also got some more property damage. So look at her water property. There it is. 290% now. Rafina, same thing. 260 though for her, because she doesn't have a water property with the bond that I have on her. Okay. Okay, so next skill, it's going to be using Contagious Fear, which is Silence. So the only ones that are going to be silenced on this are going to be Olivia and Rue. Sorry, Rue. Sorry, Olivia. So Terese, since you don't have any other of her supporters activated because it's on cooldown time, just use her Angel Destruction ability, gain some SP points back. You're going to bring up... actually, you're going to activate... Okay, so you can... In all honesty, I would activate Rue's Terra Burst scalability if you have it unlocked, which you should because it is a free +5 unit or costume. Gonna activate this because of the AoE, and then I'll activate then Mechanical Dive again for Rafina. Now, important to remember, okay, so if you don't have Mechanical Dive where the cooldown time is at 3 and it's at 5, you're gonna end up using either her basic attack or you're gonna use her Machina Call. The reason why I would suggest not using Machina Call is because if you use it here, you're gonna waste it, right? Because the next turn is that weird tile attack right here, like the every other turn one. I find it works better for when you use it here because she's able to target everything. You see how like she's targeting all 5 squares and also the weak spots. That's why I would suggest doing it the next turn. But in order for you to use another skill like Mechanical Dive, since her Gamer Girl one is on cooldown time, you have to level up one of the skill trees to do it. So instead of 5 cooldown, it goes to 3. Does that make sense? So that's what I would suggest doing, but that's just me. So yeah, let's see. Everybody's highlighted. We're going to reactivate Bikini Sylvia again, extend our buffs that we have on us. And then everybody else, we should be fine. So attack order, this is how it should look. So Terese, Olivia, Rue, Rafina, and then Sylvia last. Okay. Reason also why you don't want Terese to be silenced, and I have no idea why I just used that skill. I did not mean to use that skill. Hold up. Let me redo that again. I didn't mean to actually use that skill. I know, I'm just like messing up. Don't use that skill. Use your basic attack. Okay? You want to save the SP points for Morpeah's team, okay? Kind of got lost in my talking. Okay, so this is the one that's every other turn. So move Rafina there. Keep Sylvia where she's at. But you're going to be using her Admiral one instead. Okay, so let's just get everybody here. Move Medical Terese over here to highlight both Rafina and Sylvia. Right, and everybody else, just make sure they just don't get hit. Okay, so Olivia and Rue are on silenced. So this is how it should look. My Admiral Sylvia isn't as built with enhancement, so it is kind of a bummer for me, but it is what it is. Okay, so last attack, you're just basically gonna just go all in, right? So activate Terese's augmentation ability. Activate Olivia's Faithful Wings, but put her actually at the very last position, which I'll tell you why too. Activate Rafina's Gamer Girl ability, put her third. And then Red Riding Hood Rue, she's going to be second in the lineup to activate her crit rate again, plus provide more, what's it called? Critical damage. Okay? So reason being is to why Sylvia isn't last is because of the augmentation ability that Teresa activates. Because if you had her last, basically it would go over the 5-chain hit, and you wouldn't be able to actually activate this augmentation, right? So that's why you're going to have Sylvia fourth. Does that make sense? And then you'll have Olivia last. Okay? And that's how you would do this for the second team around. I don't know why my game is buffering. I have no idea. Okay, so here's the last team. Okay, so this team, explanation-wise, it might sound a little all over the place. I'll do my very best to explain it. However, showcasing it, it's very simple. So, position-wise, this is actually how it should look. Okay? So, you have Grenadier up front, right? You have Rafithia. Now, Rafithia has to be in the middle here. She has to be here in the middle. Okay? She has to be in the center here. Does that make sense? Zenith is going to be on the side because she's the one targeting the weak spot, right? And then Morpeah, she's just going to be basically summoning the entire time. No joke. Like, she'll be attacking when we get to the Paradoxal Heart. But until then, she's going to be first, and she's going to be summoning, okay? So, another thing, in case you're new and you don't know this, is that every time Morpheus summons, the summons always is placed in the upper left-hand corner here. And it goes basically from left to right. Okay? That's how it works. So, when I summon again, since all these other tiles are filled, the drone that she's going to summon is going to be here then. Okay? Because it's the next empty one. Does that make sense? So, let's double check everybody. Make sure Rafithia is using her poolside one because she's going to increase the property damage. Now, for my stats, for my build's sake, I have it at 50% because she's at +5. So it'll be very different if you don't have her at +5, okay? So she increases my property damage for my team by 50% for 8 turns, and she also applies a 1 SP cost reduction as well. Okay, so that's why you want to use her first. Zenith, you can activate her Bikini one as well. She increases the chain damage, okay, and she applies concentrated fire. And then as for Wilhelmina, she'll be next. So you can either use her Iron Monarch, or you can use her Frozen Queen one, which increases her own property damage by 60% for 6 turns. Now, mind you, she's a free unit, so you should have her at +5, if anything. Okay? And then Grenadier, you're not actually going to activate Grenadier just yet. In fact, Grenadier is not going to activate her skill. Okay? Reason being is because, and also make sure your clones are not attacking either. Make sure. The reason being is because we actually want to be hit by this. This is why I have them placed like this. Is because if you look at Grenadier's Shrine Maiden skill, for any debuff on an ally, it gives the team augmentation stacks. So that's actually really good. You'll see what I mean by that later on, okay? So just don't activate nothing. Don't even activate her Gluty one with the magic increase. Just leave her alone. Okay? So, that's how it should look. And also make sure Wilhelmina just doesn't get hit either because you want the drone to be here. Okay, the drone has to get hit. Okay? Your drones are basically the one that's going to be doing all the damage in this one. Like, all the damage. Anybody that has a very well built Morpeah with gear, they're gonna do like insane damage. Like for real. It is a lot of damage, mind you. It's like UNGA BUNGA damage. Okay, so Morpeah, she's gonna activate her drone again. So since it has a cooldown time of 1 for beachside Morpeah, that's actually really cool. I don't remember what it is with enhancement because it's been so long since I unlocked her. But if you want to go check, you can see at what plus enhancement it is for the cooldown time to be 1. Or I think it's like one of her skill trees too. It could be one of her skill trees to reduce the cooldown time as well. So either look at one of those because I forgot to check that. So apologies. Okay, so next turn we're going to be silenced. Okay, so for this one, you want to move Grenadier down here. You're going to move Morpeah down here because she's going to be summoning a lot. Okay, you want her to summon. You're also going to have Zenith because Zenith can't be silenced because she needs to aim for the weak spot. Does that make sense? So for this one, you're just going to have everybody basically get hit with the silence one. Okay? Make sure that your clone's skills are not yet activated because you do not want to waste it. So we got Morpeah first, Rafithia second. And also because she's going to stay in the middle is because when Morpeah summons, she's going to summon the other two clones in the vicinity where Rafithia then can also apply the crit damage increase to them as well. Does that make sense? And everybody else, you just attack. So Zenith's Red Robin Hood. Oh, Red Robin Hood, my god. I'm getting confused with Red Riding Hood Rue. Robin Hood Zenith, you're going to use her skill next. It's the only one you can use. Well, Hamina, you can either use her Bikini one or you can use her Iron Monarch. Okay, whichever one. She's going to be silenced anyway. So I'm going to use her Bikini one for the chain reinforcement attack. Okay, and then as for Grenadier, put her in third place. You can activate her magic if you'd like to. Just don't activate her augmentation just yet. You're going to do it on the next turn. Okay? So everything looks good. Everything checks out. Great. Let's let it go. Let's let it rip here. See, the clones go on the field. Rafithia uses her skill. Right? So... Okay. Now don't worry, just because there's silence. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move them back. This is actually when you're going to use Grenadier's augmentation skill. So make sure Grenadier is in the middle here because she's going to highlight everybody that has a debuff. And you're going to see that the debuff is going to be turned into augmentation damage. Okay, and I'll show you in the stats up here. Okay, so make sure she goes first. And top-down view, this is how she should be. Okay. So Rafithia is under silence. So Morpeah, well, actually Morpheah is gonna go first. Sorry about that. Have Morpheah always first for this up until you get to the next attack here. So she's gonna summon some more clones. They're gonna go here now since these are the only two empty spaces. Grenadier is also gonna highlight them as well on the next turn with her skill. Okay, so Zenith, you can put Zenith third since she wasn't hit. Okay. So you can use her chain stack if you'd like. And then everybody else is silenced. Yep, they are. Okay, so attack then. See that? The augmentation stacks. Another very important thing to remember is to have all the clones get hit by that attack, by the way. You see how it's highlighting all of them? How it highlighted them all? Because if you have basically like Mamonir and Morpheah up here, then they're going to gain the property damage. But the thing is, the clones are doing all the damage in this case. So you want all your clones to be hit by this. Does that make sense? That's why it should look like this. Okay? Now you're going to activate Morpheah's skill, but you're going to put her, I believe, well, let's see. We're going to activate Grenadier first. We're going to activate Rafithia's Bridle next for the chain reinforcement. Okay? And then we're going to have a Zenith attack. Actually, wait a minute. Hold up. My bad. I messed that up. Don't activate Zenith's poolside. Use her Robin Hood one because the poolside one that she has increases chain damage. So that's why I use her Robin Hood one. Okay? Sorry I messed that up. So let's back that up. Right? Let's back that up. Okay, now you're going to activate this, okay? So here we go. This should actually just finish the boss off in general. So let me just set everybody up here, right? Yeah, everybody looks good. Okay, so Grenadier goes first. Rafithia goes next. Zenith's Bikini costume goes third for the chain increased damage. Then with Helmina, you're going to use her chain reinforcement ability as well. So you're going to use Bikini with Helmina. Morpheus Apostle, you're going to be applying Concentrate Fire as well. And you're also going to be applying a 165, well, depending on how much you cluster, by the way. For me, it's 165% summons vulnerability to the enemy for 2 turns. And everybody else is going to be just kamikaze, okay? And also, remember, move Wilhelmina up here and place a Grenadier, because you want to have her highlighted with the chain, okay? The chain reinforcement with Rafithia's ability. Remember to just do that, okay? Remember that. And there you have it. That's how, well, that's another way of you guys being able to do this. Now, like I said, you know, if you have a very built Morpeah, right, and tackle the higher stages, you can easily clear them, okay? So as you can see, Darian did the most damage in my case, though, however, with this. And then Mamonir did it, I guess, in third, because Darian's other costume did the second most damage. But yeah, Morpeah, she can do a lot of damage, guys. She can. But yeah, so there you have it. I hope this guide helped you out. I know it was a little longer because I talked about 2 separate teams with this. But nonetheless, I hope it did help you guys out. And with that being said, I'll catch you all in the next. And y'all take care, guys. See ya.